Today's review from our 2022 Enduro Bike Roundup will be the Orbea Rallon. So if you're a fan of enduro bike racing, the Orbea Rallon should be no stranger to you. This is actually the lightest bike in our roundup this year at 32.5 pounds. It is definitely a stiff, snappy, fast, and incredible pedaling long travel enduro bike. Sean, you spent quite a bit of time pedaling this bike around. Talk to some of the smoother, more pedally trails and jump trails that you spent time on.
I mean, it delivers power. I mean, it delivered power quite well. I never felt like I was overexerting. Like, it just spun. Like, it felt like an e-bike without a motor. I don't know. I did clip a few pedals. I mean, it does bob a little bit if you don't have it locked out. But I mean, I felt it was one of the most efficient pedalers in our group that we've ridden on the flowier stuff. Yeah,
I definitely think all of the testers agree that this bike is probably the best pedaling bike. It is fast. I think talking about the pedal bob, I didn't really experience it, and some of the other guys didn't as much, but you also had the bike set up a little bit softer, which is kind of where some of the critiques of the bike come in. The frame stiffness is one aspect of this bike's overall ride. However, the suspension platform does have a pretty stiff off the top feel.
It does.
And you can work to overcome that by running a little bit more sag like Sean did. It does lower the bottom bracket, which is already very low. It is adjustable via a flip chip, but if you've got it in that low setting, this is a low. I think we had a 35mm bottom bracket drop on this thing. So you are gonna be clipping pedals, and it will bob a little more if you are running more sag. The pedal switch will definitely fix that. Also, it's worth noting that we spent a bit of time running and testing this bike with a coil spring out back.
Infinitely different.
Yes, we are huge fans. The coil definitely makes this bike a little less harsh off the top. It makes it a little bit smoother, a little bit more enjoyable to the casual rider, I could say. You know, this is a high performance race bike, right? And like anything that is a high performance race machine, whether you're talking about a sports car, a motorcycle, or a mountain bike, there are gonna be some trade-offs when it comes to comfort, lackadaisical riding, and such. So if we were going out and focusing on racing, speeds, time against the clock, this would definitely be a bike that we would consider. I also think not only the rider's skill level and expectations, but the terrain would dictate how high or low this bike would be on your list. Like I said, the coil made it a lot better. Chattery braking bumps, successive square edge hits that are not super big, the bike will take a little bit out of you. The coil will alleviate that, but there are some more comfortable, smoother, and supple bikes. But when you want to really start pushing your limits and the bike's limits, this thing will reward you, and it will just ask for more. So that's definitely something I think that's worth noting. So moving away from the suspension and frame stiffness, we'll move into the geometry, which for the most part, this bike sits right firmly in the middle of the group. It's got a 485 reach for the size large, a 64-degree head tube angle, 637 stack height. It does, however, have the lowest bottom bracket drop, which we kind of touched on earlier. It does make it corner like an absolute monster, but there are some downsides depending on your terrain and how rocky or rooty your climbs and pedals are.
Chris would attest to that after yesterday.
Yeah, correct. But beyond that, the bike sits in a really nice spot in not being polarizingly extreme and also not being too conservative to where it can't handle some of the steeper, gnarlier terrain that you might encounter at a bike park or on an enduro race circuit. So moving into spec and options, Orbea has a few different levels of bike at some varying price points. Another really cool thing about Orbea is their My-O program, which allows you to customize certain aspects of the build like wheels, suspension, and what's really cool is that it also allows you to customize paint options. So if you want to personalize the bike, make it a little bit unique, there are a number of options which you can select and kind of make the bike your own. Anything, Sean, takeaways for you on this bike?
Oh, it's, before we started hopping on a lot of the other ones, it was ranking pretty high.
Yep.
But the coil, it definitely jumped up a couple spots too. But it's, I mean, it is the race bike to me.
Yeah.
Like, just with how stiff it feels and everything, but it's fast. Also a little harsh when you get to like things like rattlesnake and.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and that's kind of like, that's worth talking about. And I think again, where it kind of boils back to you as the consumer or the rider really need to evaluate what you want out of your ride and your experience, because if we didn't live this close to the bike park and all you were doing was wanting a longer traveled 29er and you were pedaling some of the trails down low.
Yeah, like if we were doing tiddlywinks or fun or any of that stuff, like this is perfect.
Very high on the list, right?
I mean,
because you get great efficiency.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like it's a long travel bike. It pedals like it's a 140, 150 bike.
Right. And it pumps, you can accelerate, it corners well.
And it's lightweight, so you just pops and like could hit a corner, hit the jump that's right after and just air it out, and it's like, I had no speed for that. I shouldn't have been able to do that.
Right. But. Yeah, so I guess for maybe for those that are doing a lot of pedaling and maybe are riding maybe more jumpy, new school, like slower trails, or you're an aggressive guy that is like, you want to charge and pound and hammer stuff, I'd say that's kind of the two places this bike really excels.
Yeah, you gotta be EWS racer or like just casual chilling on mellower trails.
Yeah, I think that in between, if you want to just go out and ride some rough trails at a medium pace, it's not gonna, it doesn't suck by any means. It's just, I think there are better bikes that will be more smooth and comfortable and will not fatigue you as much and allow you to ride a little better and not be focused, right? Because ultimately that's the thing, is if you're getting tired, if you're getting bounced around, your progression as a rider will slow a bit because you're focusing on that fatigue and adjusting the bike instead of building fitness and getting faster, which some smoother, more plush bikes might allow you to do.
I mean, I feel like the stiffness though too also, like, I mean, there's a few times where I was just like ripping through trail and like it was because it was so stiff, and I was like, I don't know how much longer I can hold on, but dang, this is fast.
Yeah. That is it. So the Orbea Rallon, without a doubt, this bike is a rocket ship. It likes to go fast, up and down. Best pedaler, I'd say, out of the group. One of the fastest and most capable with our fitness level in short bursts. But yeah, top to bottom bike park laps.
I'd be falling off pretty quick.
Fingers get a little tired and feet get a little tired too. But that is the Rallon. Great bike. Again, evaluate your intentions with it for sure. Make sure you guys stay tuned for the rest of the bikes coming up in the roundup, and of course our grand finale episode where we compare this to the other 7 bikes in the group review. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and we see you out on the trails.